Trying to get my lighting to work. I'm like bright here.
I have good lighting here.
Yeah, you have good lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Very good lighting. I don't, because it's just a computer screen. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday, so you are with me, Brian, and of course, I'm joined with my co-host, Daniel Payton, author Daniel Payton, among other things.
Many useless things, mostly.
Not useless. I wouldn't consider cooking useless.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
Unless you are damaging yourself while cooking.
Which I have a very good talent for doing, apparently. I'm still recovering from my last few bouts of attacks on my own hands, but I'll survive.
I hope so. And we're all mended and everything's good. Your hand is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That is good. Tonight's... Oh, there we go. I look so much better. Kind of. We're just waiting for people to show up. Lots of people are showing up now. So welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and love it. Do whatever you need to do. Christopher Cowles, welcome. Fort Myers, Florida is here, he says. It's always good to see Christopher pop on. I know a couple of other people are on as well. You've come on a good night. You're watching on a very good night because our guest is here. He's waiting to come on and chat with us. So we're going to be talking with actor Jeremy Roberts. There he is sitting there, waiting patiently, like I said, to talk to us. So he's been in many things, and we're going to talk about that when he comes on. So yeah, I'm excited.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah.
If you're watching right now and you're just kind of watching, at least pop over here in the comments and just say hi. Let us know you're here. But don't forget to ask questions. We got lots of time. We got lots of people on here. Ask your questions.
Yes. Yes. Most of you have seen the movies or TV shows that Jeremy has been in. I know you have. So, and once you see him and he starts talking about those different ones, you'll be able to remember who he was. So yeah, because all I had to do was see his face and I knew exactly who he was. So yeah. Yep. So yeah, that's about it.
Some good news I do want to start with before we run into this is that on this Saturday, in 2 days, I'm going to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan, doing a book signing. And so if you follow my page on Facebook, you'll find out where it is. Tickets are free to go to this. There's an event at Bookfest there called Dreaming Dirty in Michigan. And it's a fun event, but I'll be definitely representing my books there. And then, of course, after that, I will be in Indianapolis, the beginning of September. That's my next big event is in Indianapolis. So but this Saturday, as in 2 days, I'm going to be doing a book signing there. And we're still promoting the Kickstarter for my publisher's new branch of the comic books. And we're already 20% funded. It's already good. It's been growing great for this first week. So, everybody, I'm sharing it constantly. Keep an eye on it because I'm really excited to get my first comic book ever produced. So, some fun and good news for me. Things are going great for that.
So the link for the Kickstarter, you're using Kickstarter, right? Yes.
Correct.
Was already posted. We've shared it. So, yeah.
Yep. So
perfect. I see you were giving free tickets away.
Yeah, for this event, basic admission is free, so you can get in free no matter what. But they sold tickets to kind of get an idea how many people are going to be there, and so if you went to Eventbrite and bought tickets for $0, you could get tickets you print off and they scan. And so I went over there and I got a whole bunch of them. And so I was giving out tickets to people saying, come to this. It's more of advertising than a ticket, in my opinion. But that way we get, interest in it. It's, book signings and these things are just starting to come back. So I'm wanting to get a lot of people come to this. Plus I've got, new stuff to promote here. So I'm really excited about it.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be very exciting. So a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't done comic books. Have you done comics before?
Nope. This will be my first official comic book. I do some comic work with Heroes Rising, and we have artists who do the panels and all, but it's all digital. It's all on the game. This is going to be an actual physical comic book based in the Bark universe in my superhero series. So, but I also have some other good news, and I haven't shared it with Brian yet, but he's going to be interested that in 2 weeks I have set up for John Jackson Miller to come on the show.
Ooh,
so
John Jackson Miller.
He's not going to be available next Thursday, but the week after that, he's going to be able to come. He had a catastrophe in his house. Literally, the house had a wall fall in part of the basement, and literally the day he was supposed to be on. And so we were kind of stuck between him trying to find contractors and covering a giant hole. And so he really couldn't be on the show. So this time around, hopefully, no disasters, no problems. He'll be on. So I'm looking forward to having him on the show to talk about writing Star Trek and Star Wars and other things he's involved with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a little sad that he wasn't able to join us. What was it, last week? Yeah, last week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be last week.
Yeah, but that's all right. That's very good news. Very good news indeed. So now I have something to look forward to. So, yeah. So.
But I'm super excited about tonight because as a big Trekkie, I was on Facebook about 6 months ago. I think it's been that long. Mm-hmm. And I'm on a Star Trek fan page, and people on there, I've met on the page. One of the active members is like the daughter of Armin Shimmerman, who plays Quark on Deep Space Nine. But all of a sudden, Jeremy Roberts gets on there and says, "Hi, I'm Jeremy Roberts. I played Valtane on Star Trek." And I was like, "Oh, really?" I have had a few people on these pages who go on there and go, "I am so and so," and they're not really that person. They just pretend to be. And so there was a little skepticism at first. I was like, oh, really? Someone is pretending to me. And I went to his page and I'm like, wait, that's him. And I contacted him and I was like, this is cool. You're really him. So I was excited. I immediately jumped on and said, oh, I've got a show. I want you to be part of it. And we were all busy. And so he finally was able to come and we set it up for tonight. And we set it up almost a month ago. So it's been long waiting for both Brian and I to get him on here.
Yeah. I mean, he's sitting there. He's waiting. So I can see him. Yeah. So let's see. My aunt is here. My grandmother's here. Jerry Grimes from Akron, Ohio is here. Welcome, Jerry. I have been busy sharing this everywhere. In every Star Trek group I'm part of, which is probably 5 of them. Everywhere, so I'm hoping for good numbers. We had a good amount of people that were interested, so for good reason. So,
you have any other good news? Are we ready to bring Mr. Roberts?
You know, I really don't have any good news. It's been the same old work schedule since the last time we've seen each other, which was last Thursday. So really nothing for me to report. So yeah, we're just waiting for more people. I'm missing quite a few people. I know they're watching somewheres, but we'll wait for them to come on. I'm missing all of my sisters for one. Normally they don't miss any show. Oh, there's one of them. I spoke too soon, and I'm pretty sure more and more people are going to come on. So once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're watching from YouTube, which is also live, subscribe, hit the bell, notifications will pop up every time me and Dan decide to go live. So yeah. Anything else?
No, I'm just eager to get talking to him. As an amateur actor myself and a big fan of Star Trek and theater, I'm just excited to get a chance to talk to him.
Okay. I'm assuming you want me to bring him on now. Right?
What?
Okay, I will.
We're just rambling on here.
Yeah, I know it. We're just going to ramble on. So.
And here is Jeremy Roberts, one and only.
There he is. Hello.
How you doing?
Hello. Doing great.
How's everybody doing?
Oh yeah, we're just slowly getting people on tonight. I guess everybody's a bit slow. The heat's been awful for most of this country.
It has, yes.
So.
It's a horrible 74 here. struggling through it myself.
Well, I grew up in a very hot climate in Oklahoma, so where I'm living now, it's 85 and humid, but 85. And people here it's over 80. They're just dying. I'm like, no. Dying is when it's above body temperature, people.
Yeah. So
Yeah, my father was from Oklahoma, Enid, Oklahoma. We went there every summer when I was a kid, and then stopped there for a week or so, and then go off to Alabama, where my mother's family was. So I know Oklahoma. Oh yeah.
I've been to Enid quite a bit, actually. So yes, I know.
And my dad was a chef too. Something else. And my dad was a chef. So
I almost decided to be a chef in life, but I love cooking, but I didn't want to run a kitchen. And there's a difference.
Oh, he mentioned Brian mentioned cooking, so I thought maybe you were a chef. But I didn't ever get into it, but I do now. I watch every food show there is. I'm constantly eating, which means I'm constantly losing weight.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I love food.
I'm an award-winning cook of cookies and cake and bread. I've invented recipes for them and all. And if you saw me in person, you definitely fully believe that. So, but I'm good at it. So,
do they have Star Trek names? I mean, you make
I'm sorry, what was that?
Bark bread, or is there any like blue, like what is that? The drink the Vulcans drank, or was it another?
Romulan ale.
The name of it. But do you make foods like that? Romulan.
I actually
like
did.
Make blue cupcakes.
Yeah, I actually did. They back in the 90s, they put out a cookbook on Voyager because the character Neelix was a cook on the show, and so they decided to monetize that, so they put out a cookbook, and I tried a few of those. They were kind of weird, but every so often you have fun with food coloring, and so you make normal food and then you make it weird looking, especially not for Halloween. But I have a cake recipe that the cake batter has no eggs in it. No milk or eggs, so you could eat this stuff with a spoon. It's not dangerous at all. And so you put a little food coloring in that, and it makes the nastiest looking glop you've ever seen. It tastes fantastic.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, just to get started, why don't you introduce yourself? Say how you started in acting.
Well, oh God, acting. I didn't. I did when I was in high school. I did a play called Our Town. I was one of the grave diggers. That was my first outing, and I fell into one of the graves during a performance. It kind of turned me off to it for a while. I went to join the Marine Corps. Thought I would find myself or whatever. I don't know. But then the Vietnam happened, and I got back. I ended up bartending and being a lifeguard at there's a country club, the Lakeside Country Club. It's about a block of Warner Brothers. And that's where I got to meet every star in the world Bob Hopes, the Bing Crosbys, these huge Ward Bond, John Wayne. I mean, these are like that character actor of Ward Bond is who I kind of wanted to end up being like once I said, oh, well, acting, let's give that a shot. So I went to Valley College. Then my teacher asked me to go to American Conservatory Theater. I auditioned, got in, shocking. Actually, wait, this is something I don't even have an answer for, and I wondered it all my life, is that when I was younger, I've had reoccurring dreams, and the same one, over and over and over, the same dream. I'm arriving in a city which turns out to be San Francisco because of the Victorian homes they had, and I'm arriving at one, going up some stairs. I look down the hallway. There's somebody sitting in that room. I go down this way. I put bags down. I've traveled there, obviously. And that's the end of the dream. And that's been happening since I was about 11. 12, 13, I don't know. I have no idea what it is. It just kept coming up. until one day I get I auditioned for ACT, and I auditioned on St. Patrick's Day. I thought, very lucky. I was the last person. And one of the guys in there, oh God, I remember his name. I can tell you, he's on the judge now. He told me, he said, "Oh, they're going to remember." And I went, "Why?" "Because you're the last one before they go off to Chicago and audition people for the school." I went, "Oh, great." That made me feel really confident. They'll remember me one way or another. They said, "If you stink," I was like, it didn't make me feel very good. But I did it. I got in because on 2 weeks later, on April Fool's Day, I get the letter, which I think is a joke from somebody, thinking it's funny on April Fool's. But it turned out I got in one of the best acting schools in the country. And I went through 4-year school. And I say this, I graduated with Annette Bening. The same year, there were 4 of us, Harold Surratt, and Laura Ann Worthen, myself, and Annette Bening. She, of course, reached, somewhat fame. So that's how it ended. Then I decided Hollywood after Shakespeare, and I did a lot of plays all over, and said, "Well, let's give Hollywood a try." I thought, wow, this is not as hard as they say. I got the first agent and almost the first job. It was just knock wood now, but and it's been lucky as ever since. They saw me as a bad guy. I went that way.
So it's something
I
I
have
thought
it in a nutshell.
When I was younger, I had thought really seriously about going into acting. I did all theater classes in school and all this, but my dream job was kind of what you did was play character roles, bit parts through not a leading character on a main character. I never wanted to do that. I always and when I did plays, every time I did a play, I'm like, I'm not auditioning for the lead role, not at all. I want to audition for this part over here, and the peripheral parts. And I had acting just go, why? Nobody says that. We just appoint those. No, that's what I want. And you mentioned that you were inspired by somebody who was like that. Is that something you decided you wanted to do? Was play character roles?
Well, I did make that decision because I think some teacher told me during it to say, pick some of the stars you think, not necessarily you think you're as handsome as her, but where you think you could fit in like that person. And I came up with Ward Bonds and the secondary person, the Lee Marvins. I didn't go for Spencer Tracy, although he leads, but it wasn't arrogance. I was just think I'm as good as them. Just what's your type? Maybe I was a Gary Cooper at the time, younger and prettier, but you pick something. But I realized that I was so shy from youth. I could barely walk into a room, and if there were girls in the room, forget it. I'm out. So I got over that by being on stage, I guess, and then realizing that while I'm doing bad guys, the women seem to like that. So I went with it. But you mentioned something about so I picked those, and I didn't want to be famous. I put it in my mind. Please don't. It was I just wanted to be a character actor that I could work forever. Just let me work forever, and it worked. A little creative visualization, and a lot of luck. Yeah, I would have liked to have done larger roles. Well, a small actor, just small publicity agent, I think.
Well, I have to say that looking back, and after I talked to you originally months ago on Facebook, and I started looking you up because I immediately knew you from Star Trek. Because again, big Trekkie, so I was like, oh, I know this character. Both times he's played and all, and then I started looking at your credentials, going, oh yeah, and looking at these characters, and all the characters had, in my humble opinion, they had value in every scene they were in such a way that I immediately remembered them from that scene, or from that movie, or from that show. So I think that to me that says a lot about ability, about being in the scene, you're not playing a lead character, you're not driving the scene, but your character has value in it, and that it really just stuck out to me because I there's some people I've met because I do a lot of Comic Cons, I do a lot of stuff where I meet a lot of actors, especially actors who are not that famous, and I sit there and look at their credentials and go, "Oh, you were in that?" And I want to shoot myself when I say that in front of them because I'm like, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way." But I have mouth disease when it comes to around actors. Anybody can attest to those. I have stories that curl my hair, but I just when I thought about the character, when I read the credential list on IMDb, I was like, oh yeah, and immediately the scene you're in popped right in my head every single time. So I think that tells me that there's value in what you did.
Oh, wow.
So what was your first major role?
I knew I loved you for a reason, Dan. I knew I loved you for some reason.
It's true. It's true.
So what was
very
your
kind
first
of you?
major
Very
role?
kind. I found out that Go ahead. Sorry. I forget about that delay.
Unfortunately. I was just asking, what was the first major role that you got to be in? A speaking role in a show or movie that really you feel is your ground floor?
Oh gosh, I can't. I think it's just sort of. I mean, there's nothing I can say about. I mean, I can. Nothing you can say about Star Trek because you're on a. No, but I mean, about that happening was just phenomenal because I didn't mention when I was younger. I watched the first episode, and then everyone after that of Star Trek fan at the time. I mean, I grew up. I assume the book. You're right. Heinlein, Dick. 2001. I can't come up with so many that I read. I was learning, but loved it, and which was a story about getting an audition for that, but another time. But I started out wanting to be in space, and that whole something. Maybe an astronaut would be nice. I kind of, but I around the time I joined the Marine Corps, they allowed me to go in under the it was a guaranteed fighter pilot. I wanted to fly him. But when I joined, they gave me the news that I was 6'3.5", and that's just 3 inches too tall for the cockpit. You cannot. So I said, thanks, I'll see you later. And they went, no, we'll just put you somewhere else. And that's where I became a sniper, and et cetera, et cetera. But jump forward, I never got to be that pilot. But then I did end up getting into the USS Excelsior and being my own lieutenant aboard a starship. So what is good is space, the reality, the final frontier.
Let's jump to that then. What was it? It's hard to ask this kind of question, but what was it like being on Star Trek? I mean, what's your fond memories working with the people? I mean, I have a billion questions that I can all pour out at once. So,
well, it was a dream come true in a sense. I didn't really think about it. You just go for the auditions, and then you get one that's for a Star Trek, and then you start thinking, wow, what if I get on? And what'll it be like? We did a day. I'm never tired of the stories, so I hope it doesn't bore anybody if they're listening. Is that the day we had shot a thing or two, and then it shut down for about 10 minutes. We'd take a break, and in walks from it was literally the two double on a studio opens up, and these two gentlemen walk completely in their outfits of Shatner and Nimoy, and that's them coming in on the set. I usually seen, but they had to come on that day and sit in the captain's chair and take pictures to check all the costume, the makeup, everything was right before they start shooting theirs. And I remember the place had 60 people in it, up in the rafters, the director, everybody just kind of stopped and just watched them. Why? See, I get chills even now. It's weird. It's weird. It's like a weird nerd thing that everybody had. I mean, they might be already met him. It was still, you know, they could be doing other stuff, but they were by the moment of these two guys, and they're just actors, but they're thing, you know. Oh, they're this thing. Oh, I remember the day I got myself in this. I knock out my earphones every time. It's having to use these earphones is kind of messing me, you know, because I'll grab the ends, my hand will go in here and boom, pull them off. But yeah, getting in that book, it was the Bible. I got in the Bible. It was thrilling. I mean, Sulu was amazing because I had seen, and I saw the show again recently. It was a Twilight episode he did about World War II veterans. He was a Japanese, obviously, one, and then a horrible American on the other side. And they ended up getting into a problem for that half-hour episode. And I remember he was brilliant. And I remember telling him that because I thought he always got the short end on the whole thing. You know, he didn't get his own series. He never got to be in real serious stuff. But hell, Star Trek. He was a wonderful man. Is. Mm-hmm. Oh, my. Love it.
Oh, yeah. So...
Just tell me to stop anytime I do.
Yeah, no. This is gold mine for me and Brian, no doubt.
Oh yes.
I will say, as I mentioned, I do a lot of events where I meet celebrities, and one of the things I've always done is I treat them like a person, and that's connected me to them in a different way because I do have it when I do Comic Cons and they'll bring in somebody like Shatner, and before the Comic-Con starts, they bring him in to set him up, and everybody in the room just basically all turn into monks. They're just sitting there, bowing and watching him pass and all speaking quietly. And I go up and say hi, and you would not believe how many times like, oh look, yes, I am a human, and but I have met so many of them that they'll tell me the story. All of them will tell me the story of when they fanned out on another celebrity they met. Somebody you're meeting that is like the superstar, like, oh, you won't believe how much of a dribbling mess I was in front of this person. And who they mentioned, usually someone like, Ava Gardner or, John Wayne. Like, okay, I can see the fan bubbling out there, but still, you're also in Hollywood. Doesn't it make it less, important, whatever? But no, I can see it. I definitely can see it.
No. Every time, I mean, I know I was lucky enough to get on shows that I don't know what to call them. They become big, or there's something about them. They're Seinfeld, or they're on the air a lot. Or I was lucky to get that, or I got this Craven film. I did a horror film. I did People Stairs, and I was in The Mask, and then I get all those. It's so lucky, but. I got to tell you, every one of them that had a star in it, which they all did, Lansbury. I had a scene in Murder, She Wrote, where they had all the stars, and this is one of those episodes where everyone in it was somebody. There was Gene, I can't even name the amount of people that were there. And here I'm summing it up for them as a cop, pointing at the TV and talking to each of them and how or Angela Lansbury has won the day. Anyway, whatever. But I had to have something with each of them, and it was really difficult because 30 new at this, and I'm people that I grew up with on TV. Whoever it was, it's just I did a diagnosis with Dick Van Dyke and Piper Laurie. This is Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah.
To me, I'm aging myself, but man, he is always on. And Piper Laurie was the woman in The Hustler. Great actress. I stumbled a couple of times until he had to kind of put his arm around me. What's up, son? Dick Van Dyke has got his arm around me, and I have to act with him. Can I raise it to his bar? And I'm like, hello, your mind is freaking. And here I'm talking a scene with Piper Laurie that Paul Newman had one with her, and it's just it goes through your mind. So. Yeah, I don't know how it ever gets turned off. And when I see myself, I don't care for it. I've never really watched myself. Oh man, how did that guy get an acting job? It's just amazing. So I realized that's not good to have in my mind, so it's best to stop watching it. Where I know a lot of actors can sit there after every day and watch the day, or after every scene and go back behind the thing with the director and get better, I guess.
Yeah,
I just will better.
I will admit, if I got a chance to meet Dick Van Dyke, I probably would be the stumbling, bumbling fanboy. I'm a massive fan of his work. Dick Van Dyke Show. I just watched Bye Bye Birdie yesterday. I mean, I love his work, and I love classic television. And I got to meet Barbara Eden, and that I would have to admit that was a moment that I went from I treat them like people to, oh my God, you're Barbara Eden. So yes, I've had that. I totally, and I was just getting her autograph. So,
wow.
Yeah, I got one more I can throw in that kind of might almost trump when I was younger. I had a thing for impressionists that could do actors, like they could do Burt Lancaster, whoever was famous at the time, an impressionist like Rich Little, Frank Gorshin. I really love that stuff, and attached happened to be the Riddler. Gorshin. He's also the Riddler, but he's this guy that my parents every night he's on, Johnny Carson or Jack Parr, even probably that far back, night late, if I could stay up and watch it, because I loved him. I could see myself in mirrors trying to do the actors and the Jimmy Cagneys and stuff. But anyway, he was a Riddler. That really made it even more. Jump ahead 30 years, and I marry a woman, beautiful woman, Sirlette LeMay, and her mother is Haji. Now, Haji was an actress in Russ Meyer films, like Faster Pussycat Kill Kill, Down the Valley of the Ultra Vixen, women with large breasts, the gorgeous women of the world, running through the desert, shooting men who drive fast cars, the 60s.
Yeah.
So she was one of those. She does a lot of, so you might even been. She's passed away now, and God rest her soul. But started telling us who she dates, and she dates a lot of stars. And she says, I'm dating this guy named Frank. He played, I don't know. She's like, throws it off, the Riddler. And I like, the Riddler? Frank Gorshin, you're telling me. She goes, yeah, I've been dating him, and I really like him. Oh, my God. She's dating the Riddler. Next thing you know, months pass, and he's on our porch at our house by the pool, and I'm having drink. Telling you, Elias, I'm not dropping this because it was so weird that my childhood idol would be having drinks with me at the pool while he plans his wedding, where he was going to become my father-in-law. So, like I said, I get in all these good things. It may be a small, but I get to have my idol be my father-in-law. How many actors get that?
Okay,
he passed away 15 years ago and didn't happen. We miss him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can see him. Where do I get my finger? Right there.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
That picture, there's Frank as a Riddler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he gave me this too. He was also in Star Trek, Let This Be Your Last Battlefield. It was Bell, B-E-L-E, Ballet or Ballet. Guy with a half black face, half white.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Amazing.
Very good episode. Yeah.
So, oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, moving forward.
So
I was going to say, moving forward, you played Valtane, a character from the 6th movie, but then they brought him back for Voyager for the episode Flashback. And they gave the character, you, more part of it. So how did that come about? How happy were you to see the character being reprised? What tell us a little about that experience.
Well, I think it was constant haranguing and letters to the writers for years, begging them to know. I was moved in was happy to live with that moment of fame from Star Trek VI when I get a call from my agent saying, "Hey, guess what? They wrote you back to an episode of Voyager." And I had auditioned once for it, some other alien, and didn't get it. So I was a thrill. Like I saw a series with Dulu and I in the future from this, of course. And that didn't happen. And when I read it, I can't really remember if I had any problem with dying in the scene, and I didn't in Star Trek VI. But I felt at the time that if I said something, they can just easily just suck me right out of it, and then I wouldn't even be in it. So. I said nothing, and to this day, we don't know if it was just a glitch or Tuvok is mistaken in his memory, or that girl that kept falling from the cliff. I don't know.
That girl screaming every time, too.
I think we need to bring Valtane's father back or something, in a series, a sitcom. As Valtane as a grandfather. Sulu is real. He's an octogenarian. I mean, he's like 90, 120. It's coming up now. I got to think of this. I got a script.
Well, it's a great episode. I thought it did good because it was able to explore part of that movie story that the movie didn't touch. Because the movie focused, of course, on Enterprise and Kirk and Nimoy, Spock and Bones, but now we get to see the Excelsior side of it. And so you've worked with a lot of people. Some of them I know. Kevin Sorbo is a friend of mine. Who's someone you really enjoyed working with? Someone that you really connected with who was in one of these shows and movies?
Oh, my wife says you're just too shy, or from the beginning you don't want to, be jumping in the star's face. Hey, how you doing? Same way with auditions. I learned from a producer and a director telling me how to best get the job. And they said, well, because it's been the third time you've hired me. He says, you were just the guy when you walked in the room. You were that serial killer, that alien or whatever. You were him when you walked into the room. And I just was shy when I would meet people like Johnny Depp. We got along really well in Jump Street and exchanged numbers, and was going to, meet with him in Hollywood. And, next thing you know, I could see myself later. I think, well, why didn't I call him? Why didn't I keep up these, why didn't I keep calling Kevin? Because we had a great time. Did 4 episodes, Xena's and Hercules there. I just don't feel like I'm imposing or something. It's like, it's someone trying to get to know the star. So what I did to begin with, when I didn't even have a job, I thought, well, when I get my first job, if I get one. So I went to Hollywood when I got one. It was called Hooperman, robbing John Ritter, another, bless his soul, in a sushi bar. I come in and I rob him and his girlfriend. So I got a picture, an 8x10 of him from Three's Company, I think. And in case I could get up the nerve to ask him to sign it, which I did. And then I have like 200 or 300 now. I got over that year and started. Actually, I was the first person that Brad Pitt told he was going to marry Jennifer Aniston. I nobody knows that because I didn't tell a soul. We were on the set, and I got it out of him. He just had to tell someone because he goes to the thing. His transcript brings the ring. He goes, I'm going to ask her tonight. And I went, oh, that's great. He says, yeah, I just been wanting to tell somebody. I'm going to ask her tonight. And I reach in and I grab my phone and I open it or whatever I don't know how long ago it was. And I start calling a friend at like Entertainment Tonight, and he jumped all over my ass. Nothing funny. No, he had a humor. He thought it was fun to call him, really. Told nobody. But normally I don't talk much. And that's usually what people, on the set. You're there for 8 days. You got to be this bad guy. You got to kill somebody or whatever. Good times, but you got to put on makeup. You're in the trailer. Nobody talks to you because I hear that they say, well, we think you're getting into the character. You're so quiet and you're always thinking. And I'm like, oh God, I'm just begging somebody to touch me. Then by the time the show's over, you've made friends with everybody and you have to meet them again on another show later, which makes it later down the line. You end up meeting all the crew. So they're all working shows that you're in over and over. So then it's nice. But at first, it's kind of tough. And I probably went on and answered no whatsoever, but I certainly yammer.
Yeah. I've always been very good at talking to people, so I'm on the other end. But I haven't had anybody tell me to leave them alone, but I do know when I need to shut up. So, speaking of the Comic Cons, have you ever done those? Do you go do appearances at them to do signings?
I did a few. I've done about 4 or 5, but 12 years ago I stopped and went home to Alabama to help take care of my mother and father, my ailing at the time. And I mean, long story short, we stayed there for 5 years, and I got to be with my mom for the last years of her life, and it was the greatest thing ever. I mean, I'm so glad I got to spend it with her. But then things started happening bad at work. My dad passed away because of that, and my mother-in-law passed away, and Frank had passed away, abortion, and my mother, and then her friend. It was just, man. And then I thought, well, it's okay. I think I need to go back. It's been 10 years. I've had it with fishing and rocking on the rocking chair, so I better go back to work. And then the pandemic, so that kind of put that on a hold. But now I see so many other shows. I got a buddy, Greg Cummings. He plays Crate and Barrel on Bosch, if you ever watch Bosch. But he's a regular on the show, telling me all the stuff you're having to do now when you go back. And it's just because of the pandemic. They can't go anywhere. They have to go from the set, go home, go anywhere else. You have to have that card, take a test constantly every day. But there's shows on everything now. Network, Hulu, Peacock. Everybody's got shows. So it's time to go back. And I have an agent to do these Comic Cons, but I'm not sure if there's a interest, because usually there are people like that have been in it a lot, or they're a Shatner, or they're a lead in something. A guy I went to college with at Valley College, Larry Thompson, Nazi, and he gets it because of that. And he works some, but not much. He didn't become anything more. But that's what I'm saying. They usually go for someone who has more to offer. But then I looked at your volume of work. If there's somebody who, like it's been happening on the fan pages, that it's really nice, and it gets me in the heart, where they say it's a soup Star Trek, just like you had a show and fan club, but we went back and looked at what you've done, and you're in everything we ever saw. And that's like, it kind of makes you feel good, like, okay, you're getting to somebody. But so I thought I'd go back, because I kind of miss 4 and 5 hours in makeup, putting some sort of strange alien or Star Trek. Discovery, that's what we'll do somehow.
Yeah, it's there.
Again, did it answer a question? Who knows?
I'm getting back into them, because that's where my bread and butter is doing book signings at Comic Con. So I've got 4 of them between now and the end of October, and more coming. So they're definitely out there. And you're right. When I looked at your credential list, I was like, oh, it's Jeremy Roberts. My first thought was, hey, this is the guy from Star Trek. Then looked at your credential list. I'm like, you listed my, teen years, everything I watched. I was like, good grief. No wonder I know him so well. He's been in everything I watched growing up. This is all the shows. There he is. He's in everything. And I think that, this definitely there for people who would be interested in the stuff you've done. Definitely with the Trek fans, I see Kevin. Good Lord, every other show it seems like I'm seeing Kevin in one of these Comic Cons. So Yeah, people still remember all of them.
Oh yes.
Well, he's Hercules. You know, that's like I said, it's that big Xena. She's Xena. And another friend. Oh my God, he's no. Sometime I'll get it to my mind, but he had a God, why is my mind not working? He had a buzzsaw on his hand.
Oh, Bruce
Famous
Campbell?
character. He had a Bruce Campbell, because he also did start Hercules and Xena's, and we became friends because we did a movie together called Running Time, which they're actually bringing back because Running Time was a special, anyway, a film noir kind of thing, and they're trying to put it back in theaters. It was Bruce and myself, and it was obviously other people, mainly me.
Yeah, anybody have
That had to do with what?
Anybody have any questions they want to ask? Go ahead and post them. We can ask them. Brian, do you have any questions?
Yeah. People are probably wondering, wow, he's quiet. He's just sitting there. I'm enjoying this. I kind of feel out of place. I'm not an actor. I'm not an author. I just do this. I've been doing this for 6 years, so I guess I can count myself lucky. Although, you guys speak about meeting people. I don't go to Comic-Cons and anything like that or whatever, but I did meet Meryl Streep. I got her autograph, but I was in middle school because they were doing a film at the middle school, so I got to meet her. I've lost her autograph, but I've met other people, maybe more in the music world. But I have met, because I'm from the Berkshires, I'm from Massachusetts, so we have Tanglewood, which is all music, Yo-Yo Ma and Keith Lockhart and that. So I've met those people because my mother used to work for Tanglewood. So Steven Spielberg, James Earl Jones was there for movie night, which happened to be Star Wars of all things. So yeah, I've met my fair share of people. So that's about it. But then I get to meet them on here. So I'm quiet because I'm just listening. I'm a fan. So yeah, I'm good.
See, I can just like put my hands on this, and I've got this ability to say, you obviously like Mickey Mouse. I see you liking Mickey Mouse.
I do.
Is that sort of true? Is that? Yeah, I got this talent. I have an ability when I shake people's hands, I can tell you a little something about them. Yeah, wow. I wasn't looking at the things behind you, but yeah.
Never mind all that stuff back there. It's nothing back there. But yes, no, there's a collection of different things back here. So, I mean, I do like Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I got my ship behind me here. Dan has one too. Mm-hmm. Don't let him fool you. It's somewheres. But yes, I do like Disney. I used to go every year. I can't anymore because it's changed. Like you said, COVID has completely changed everything.
Yeah.
How we work and go about our daily lives. It's completely changed. So, and now we're going back to having to wear masks here in Massachusetts. At some point, I know employees have to wear masks where I work anyways. And I just don't want to go backwards. We were doing so well. But yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah.
Massachusetts, you're a Boston fan? Are you a baseball fan?
I do watch baseball. Yeah, well, Massachusetts. Yeah, I have to root for the Massachusetts team. I'm not originally from Massachusetts, but yeah. So I don't really have teams.
No, I'm a big Red Sox fan.
There you go. Yeah. I don't mind watching a game here or there, but yeah, I'm nowhere near Boston. I'm like 3.5 hours away from Boston, so I'm 45 minutes from Albany, New York. So I'm kind of like right on the border of Massachusetts and New York, Connecticut, Vermont. 15 minutes away from. So yeah, yep, that's where I am. Yeah.
Well, this is what you do: is you usually, when all these, because of Zoom and everything, then I find myself, because I was in movies when we're watching at home, my wife and I, she really irritates, but she puts up with it. I'm looking who who's behind. It's the character I'm looking for. I'm looking for the guy behind it, the extra. You see the guy that just walked across the screen there, but he kind of. We did a show years ago, and so she kind of hates that because it kind of ruins the film. But or you see that guy, he looks just like Meryl Streep's daughter, and it usually ends up being someone that I'm pretty good with that. But that had something to do with So the thing that I look always behind people, like you started doing with the newscasters. It's like I see Dan, I see Start looking for yours. Oh, there's a strip. Hey, there's a guy who's going to send me. He's going to make me a USS Excelsior. Is that amazing?
Nice. I wish I had one.
I'm a pop figure. The guy made me a pop figure. This is Valtane. You see, he even made sure that he was a lieutenant. Oh, it's over his hand. Yeah.
Oh, he's got the right badging. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That was so sweet. So great. Very nice. Man.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I should have done this 2013. And now I'm done.
Where is he located, anyways? Do you know where?
Where are you in? Are you in California, Alabama? Where are you located at?
Yes, California.
Okay.
Ventura.
The
Okay.
beach.
It's about an hour and something out of LA.
Mm-hmm. I've only been to LA a few times.
And you, Dan?
I'm in Michigan, Southeast Michigan, just outside of Detroit. So we're Brian and I are both pretty north, and I'm actually cool. My temperatures are colder this year than Brian's, which is unusual, but yeah. I spent a lot of years in the East Tennessee in the mountains and in Oklahoma in the heat. So
I have a sister in Dollywood.
Yep.
There. So their family's in LA. I'm the only one left out here.
I don't know if I could live out there, though. I've never been there. Did you enjoy it while you were there, Dan?
It doesn't rain. That's just kind of a misery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
It's 75 and 80 all the time. It never rains. It's just horrible. I want snow. I want rain. I even named my dog. My middle name is Rain. He oddly enough loves rain too. We like it to be gray. Like London would be the best. Gray and raining. That's why I love New Zealand when we went there to shoot those. And then we vacation there all the time since. I've been there 4 times to work and 6 after. We just can't think of anywhere better to go than New Zealand. Of course, you can't go anywhere now, but
yeah,
maybe.
Come over to Michigan.
Maybe soon.
Snow and rain you want.
Yeah.
This year, the rain has been so bad it's been flooding. I have friends whose houses have flooded 5 and 6 times this summer. It's been wild.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to put it out there. If anyone has any questions for Jeremy, now is the time to ask him. We have tons of people watching. So I'm not sure if you can see the comments or not. But yeah. So if anyone has any questions for him, ask them. Please.
She's kind of like the comic book shows. I don't know if there's a big enough interest because you're not as big, Could be whatever, Or maybe my constant talking has prevented anybody from asking because they're getting all the answers. Mentioning that psychic thing.
Yeah.
An episode of Millennium. You've ever seen that?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, Lance Hendrickson. It's a serial killer catcher kind of movie thing. And anyway, I did in Vancouver, and when I had a landlady, and her name was Winnie, and a nice little house in the back of her house. I'm telling you this because she also told me, "Oh, you're going up. Oh, Lance Henriksen, he was a tenant here 10 years ago." I went, "Oh, that's kind of interesting." So I can talk to the actor that I'm usually away from. I can bring this up. Something on the trip there makes me think and go to the set. The directors to me that Lance and the cast because I'm playing this caging Silence of the Lamb crazy serial killer in prison that he's come to interview a few times. So he puts his hand out, and I shake his hand, and I pause, and Winnie Carp, Farmdale. That's a street. It's, Studio City. I'm seeing a bungalow, and he like yanks his hand away, like, what? What did you say? And I repeated these things that, and he said, "How do you know that? That's the place I lived at 10 years ago. That was my landlady's name. How do you know that?" And I said, "Well, I shake hands with somebody, and I get this weird, I get something, and I don't know what it is, and obviously that was you." And he just starts laughing. He yells to the crew, "Serial killer is a psychic. A serial killer is a psychic." He got all excited, like I became his best friend, and we were buddies ever since. So sometimes a prank gets you in good with everybody. He immediately said, "Do the director, do Johnny," or whatever his name is, do it. And I had to come clean and tell him. I happened to live there too. He understood. Good humor. A lot of stars are that way. A lot of stars are good. Nice people.
Yeah. All right.
Little story. I end up having a lot of those kind of things in every one of these shows, or something like that, similar in every show. I mean, not that me being a psychic, but some connect, or like one of the Hercules. I'm in all this red gear. I've got horns coming out of here. I'm playing the devil's disciple, one of his henchmen, and I'm fully red, head to toe, evil. And I had a 2-year-old daughter. She got on the set that day, and I'm being hoisted up into the air in this studio, 50 feet in the air, and we're battling. Hercules and I are fighting, evil, and I'm the evil. And all of a sudden, you hear this little towhead little girl, "Daddy, Daddy!" Cut. And they all laughed and thought it was funny. But I have a picture of her, like a father and daughter photo, me holding her right here. And she's looking off the distance, and I'm full-blown Satan. And it looks, she knows it's Dad. Knows that's Dad, no matter what he's dressed up like, what in and whatever show, some murder. It took quite a few years. She was 14 until she was actually able to go on the set of anything, because usually she'd want to, "Can I go on the set today? You're shooting blah, blah, blah," or some pretender it was called, or something, anything. And I'd have to, let's see, I'm killing a family of 3. Not today. No. Or I'm going to chop some guys and put it in the refrigerator. Oh, no, that's not, can't today. So it took quite a few years before I finally got something funny. And that was, I think, Herbie Fully Loaded. I play a funny, crazy junk salesman who sells her the car, the love bug. See, it's those little things, those one little tiny thing and something huge. I never wanted to run the show. It's too hard, too much work. Oh, you got to really be pretty. Or, the camera loves you from all that. It's got so much going.
I think that's one of
But it's the best job in the world. Marlon Brando said that.
Mm-hmm.
Best job in the world. But if you don't, it stinks beyond belief.
Yeah, that was actually what attracted me to the idea of playing the secondary characters or the peripheral characters, is because you can kind of you can chew the scenery, you can play it over the top, and if you do it well, it really resounds in the audience, and you're not sold to that character.
Right.
Amber Follett asks, "Well,
if you do it well, you're not blamed."
Yeah. Amber Follett asks, "Who did you enjoy the most working with?"
Gosh, I loved them all. I mean, it's the stars. I mean, Christmas Vacation. One of the first things I did. I have one word, freeze, was in the script. I just yell freeze, but I'm yelling to Herbert Marshall. He was a famous actor, Herbert Marshall. We have Everybody Loves Raymond, Doris Roberts, and John Randolph. All these huge stars.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid, not to speak of Chevy Chase and Beverly Angel, but they made it so fun that was probably one of the best times, you know. And I'm in once again a vacation movie, but National Lampoon. You can't beat this. It's series that go on forever.
Oh, God,
or keep being made.
It's played every year.
And that movie is now entrenched itself into
Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done interviews on the radio in Alabama because they found out that I was visiting my parents, and this is the guy in Star Trek. I mean, in Christmas Vacation, and I'm going, what? I say freeze, but actually, that was the line, but I changed it. I actually changed that line because. Some reason Chevy Chase and I got along. I don't know how. It's just a weird thing. I was so shy, but I somehow like to play golf. You know, one of those golf games. And every time we had a break, he'd say, "Come on, let's go play golf." And I go, "Okay, I'm going to play golf with Chevy Chase." This is too much. So we're playing. We're talking. I think, you know, that line. I don't know if this is funny, but you know when I yell freeze and you guys all get stiff. Wouldn't it be funny if the guys breaking in my SWAT team, if they all freeze and I yell at them, not you, them, and, you know, telling the SWAT team to not freeze. I'm talking to them. And he said, "That's funny. That's funny." And I thought that was the end of it until after the break, and we went back and he told the director, which I could see wasn't going over well, but he said, "I don't think that's funny." You know, thanks. And then Chevy said, "No, I think it's funny. And I know funny, and it's in." So from that moment on, I knew I wasn't going to work again for Jeremiah Chichik, but I did work. But I got it. I got my line listened when I didn't even think. I was just joking. You know, you talk about your improv, you're sort of having a fun time. You say it, and you don't think he's going to back you. He was. Wow. But it was still a wonderful time. I even got the call to give Beverly D'Angelo a picture I found in a Hollywood store. Only one they had, though, was her naked in a pool where, you know, you can see everything from here up. You know, and she just flipped out as to why. How do you have that? What are you doing with this nude picture of me? So I didn't make a friend there, but, you know, she understood. That's all there was. Judah. She still signed it, very friendly. And of course, Lance Hendrickson was incredible. I loved all of the Xena Hercules. I mean, I fell in love with Xena. It was a dream.
Who didn't?
Anyway, did that answer anything?
Yeah, you got a good. That's a good answer. Very good answer. Valerie asked, "What is the best show you have done?" I'm going to answer that from a Trekkie, Star Trek. I mean,
that's loaded.
The actor says.
I think she had a loaded question. No way, it can't be any better than that. I mean, no matter how much killing or carnage I can do in a show, or how many banks I can rob, which are fun, and pushing people around and being evil, it's that you can't beat the Star Trek. And three of them. But these. You know, I can't. Those, even though on Deep Space Nine I had a very sick experience. I got ill in the masks, which forced them to take it off of me really quickly, and they couldn't put me back in the masks because it was against insurance. You know, you can't have an actor dying on the set.
Yeah.
So somebody else, my stand-in, got to finish the role, which is. I still can't figure out where I am in it. I know I am in it. I can hear my voice, so I sort of hear it. But then I can see the guy who dressed up as my ex. I really do. I can hear his voice. And I haven't been able to figure it out. So,
Hmm.
Star Trek wins.
Yes.
Unless I do another one.
I
Then
agree.
that would be better.
So, and then Heather asks, what character was your favorite to play?
That's tough because anytime you can be bad and like cut a guy's tattoo off in one show, and the next week you're gonna fly into space, yeah. It's they're all incredible. But I did have the most fun like with Millennium, in a sense, because I got to do more. I got to get into it more. I got into it so much that in age I had to lose my mind in it, and my big toe in the right foot, and I failed to ever get it fixed. I don't know why. I just figured the shoe I was wearing with it, it'll mend. So now my foot kind of does that. I have one like this and one like that. They say they can fix it, but it might. But yeah, I still had a great time. Kicking that cage to death and then messing with Lance was fun. Yeah, that was probably the best character. But again, Herbie Fully Loaded, I got to be funny. So
yeah,
I long to be funny.
Between that one and Sister Act, those two, when I looked down the list, both of them went, oh my gosh, that is him. And they're both great scenes. They're both great. So, and yes, you're not killing anybody. You're not dying. You're being funny, which is for me, I love. So,
I had a great one. This is the shortest one ever. It's in Diggstown. Louis Gossett Jr. He plays a boxer. He has to fight 10 fighters for this bet to win money. I'm one of the 10 fighters, and those other 9 fighters had to go off for 2 or 3 weeks of intense boxing training, which I didn't have to do. I was the only one who didn't have to do any of the training. And it was obvious because in the script, when I come up there, we shake hands to start fighting. I dance around. I'm kind of cocky, and one swing knocks me straight to the ground. So that was I loved that one because I could just go on, act like I'm tough, hit the ground, have to work out, and they pay me.
That's it. You took a dive for a check. And finally,
one time, Herbie Fully Loaded. They asked me to come back. Sorry, Herbie told me to come back because they wanted to overdub because a plane went over, and they wanted to add something. They usually do it. You see the big screen. You got the headphones on. You're waiting for the beeps. You're going to say whatever line you got to put into your dialogue because a plane went over. Well, they didn't have that. They had one where they had to. I want you to go. Huh. I said, well, that's it. Yeah, just go. Huh. I said, all right. So 3, 2, 1. I came. I saw myself. I went, huh. He said, that's good. Fine. Thank you. Sign the check. This is the greatest job in the world. All I had to do was go, huh.
Okay. I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, I got to be doing something wrong here. Yeah.
Okay. I say Chris Evans asks if you could do a small part on Discovery or Picard, would you? If asked.
Oh, no, it's just silly. Of course. Gosh. Anything. I don't know. I mean, anything. I would love to continue to do a 4th and then a 5th. And then I would get to the point where I could do Comic-Cons because I would have done 5 Star Treks. But no, I'd love to do another one. A lengthier part, but who knows? You're 60s now. Unless, of course, it's an alien. I can easily hide.
It'd be nice. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
As an author, I think it would be fun if they did bring you back as a character in the family of Valtane. This is, of course,
longer
because Picard is way longer after that. And I could see that. And as a fan, I think that would be a real neat Easter egg. As an author, that's something I would do. So I could see that.
Or like they're not in the same time period, but generations later, maybe there's a Valtane relative, or is Picard before? I'm not.
No,
I can't get them all
after.
straight.
Yeah,
after right.
Picard is after. Discovery, I believe, is
like thousands.
No. Just like Picard is about 100 years after the era. It's 85 to 100 years after the Kirk era is when the Picard years happen. So that one could be an ancestor of, or sorry, and then anyways, I just could see it happening, and I could see them bring you in as somebody in the family because Valtane, he died. We think maybe clone. We're kind of not quite sure about that. That was something actually. Very first Comic-Con I ever went to, just as an attendee, they were talking about that with one of the writers from Star Trek because someone said, "Well, this character dies in this episode, but he's in the last of the scene," and it was Valtane, and the person said, "Well, it's just his twin," and just went on. Like that's the answer, and I'm like, "Really? Okay. Apparently, you have a twin on the ship too."
Yeah, I didn't know what to say about that when people do ask. I mean, but yeah, what do you say? I mean, I wasn't about to tell them.
Interesting. Okay, so do we want to do more questions, Brian, or we're kind of running way over on time here already?
We are. We have so many people. So surprisingly, yeah. I think everyone is just like sitting here watching, listening, remembering everything that he's been in, and the scenes and whatnot. I almost forgot about Sister Act. Those are one of my favorite movies, but I do remember. And like Dan said, I have Jeremy Roberts coming on the show. I've been talking to him. I'm friends with him and stuff, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yep. I didn't know who Jeremy Roberts was until I looked him up, and I'm like, oh my God, I know who that is. I do know who that is. And then when you, like you said, you would scroll through all of the movies on that site to see every episode, what he played. I'm like, oh my God, I know exactly who it is. It only took me once to see Valtane's face, just once. I'm like, oh my God, I know him. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. That's nice. It's nice. Most of my career has been, and not lately because the beard and I'm much older, but it's been people walk by and have to do one of these, like, or did I know you? Did I go to school with you? You look so familiar, but they can never tell you what it is until I go, well, I shot a guy on, Briscoe County Junior last night or something, and they go, oh yeah, that's right. You're about goodness. It's really sweet. I mean, I had people when that Star Trek came out. I went into a bar in Hollywood, a trendy bar, and I got accosted by a couple of guys. They said, come on, you're going to meet this guy. And they brought me to the bar and introduced me to one of their friends. And he turned and saw me. He knew immediately. And he started whipping out 380 degrees, Mark Port, sir, or every line I had. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I love you. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
But I like it's amazing that when you go through IMDb and you see the things and you go, I even myself am like, wow, I did that. That's pretty cool. I have to admit, it's cool. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a fan of myself, I guess.
One of the funny things in life for me is, as an author, people know your work, but they don't know your face. So I do Comic-Cons, people get to know me, but the last one I was at, big one I was at, people were buying my books. I wasn't at my booth part of the day. And so I leave that evening and I'm going over to another part where they're running games. I'm just playing some games. And this guy there's reading my book. And so I walk over there and I'm like, oh, so you bought one? And he goes, oh yeah, have you read this? This author's pretty good. I'm like, okay. Balancing between promotion or saying that's me. I'm like, yeah. So for the ego lost because I just said, here, turn the book on the back side. There's the picture. Oh, it's you. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't have that particular issue of people recognizing me or not. Sometimes that can be a problem.
I think I'm getting credit for something that I obviously didn't do. If you ever go on IMDb and on the right side, like this private chat is, they have things like maybe happening on IMDb, but then you go down a little further, they come up with stuff that has to do with the actor that you're looking at, like what shows I'm in that week, what movies you can buy. And then, oh, he's one of 5 actors that went from the movie to they entered these little facts. And there's one section in there that always has an artist who does cartoons. He does like Marvel or stuff, very well known, Jeremy Roberts. And that's posted on my IMDb. And of course, I'm not going to take it off because I'm also a talented artist, that seems. Jeremy Roberts, I would like, I tell him, he's so much more well-rounded. Although, okay, Jeremy Roberts, if you said Google, hey, who's Jeremy Roberts? I usually come up because however it works. But there was a period in my life where I didn't for about on some other Jeremy Roberts. There was a guy who killed his family in like Iowa. And I went, that's kind of, interesting that he gets over to the Google for Jeremy Roberts and he's a murderer. He took it away from an actor who plays murderers. Anyway, but he went away. And then all of a sudden I had a Canadian politician who was Jeremy Roberts, and his name was on that thing when you see Jeremy Roberts, and it comes up and it says, oh, he's been in Star Trek and Sister Act, but they have a photo of this car salesman, it looks like. And I got livid because, hey, I'm a star, but I'm not a car salesman. Nothing wrong with car salesman now. It was just he had a look. And that look was not bad guy. I mean, and I just thought this is misrepresenting me. And if they look me up casting to give me a job, well, I can't give that guy a job. He looks like a car salesman. So it took me 6 months to get it off, but they finally got it right, Google.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it seems I'm an artist too. I am an artist, actually. I did this in Vietnam. I started to draw people, my buddies' girlfriends. They give me a picture, and then I put it onto a bigger picture because I had the ability to draw. I could make it look just like you, but I didn't keep it up. I should have kept it up because, man, make a fortune now. Comics, etc.
Yeah, I was gonna say right after
I'll just keep going.
Right after I first got published, I got called. I'm not a month into my very first book being put out. Nobody on planet Earth knows me as an author outside of family at this point. I get a call from a university that is asking me to come and lecture about my book. And I was like, of course, I'm much younger and so new, so green. I'm like, oh, this is so good. I am already like superstar. I'm ready for this. And then I thought to myself, the logical side said, wait a minute. How do they even know you exist? And so I contacted them. I said, what am I talking about? Oh, we're going to have you lecturing in front of the entire class of law students about sex discrimination in the workplace, about your book. I was like, my what? Apparently, there is another person with my name spelled just like my name. The only other one on Amazon, on all publishing, that's written the book for college students on sex discrimination and the workplace. Mm. And I'm like, yeah. When that book was published, I was in 3rd grade. So, not me. So, for a few fleeting minutes, I was on top of the world. But I could have walked in. I told him, I said I could do the lecture. I just walk in and say, yeah, sex discrimination in the workplace, don't do it.
Bad, yes.
Don't do it.
Oh, it would be so much fun. So much fun. You could have. Oh.
Yeah.
Saying so many things were just wrong.
Yeah. I know what he's thinking. I agree. He should have.
Okay, we really have pushed the show. We're running late. It has been a great show. I really have enjoyed listening to the stories. As I said, I have a minor, very meager background in acting and theater, so it always makes me happy listening to people who've actually been there and done this.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Well, I've had a great time. It's been a pleasure. I got 1 million of them. I'm giving them away. Do you know that phrase that comes from a Tubes song? That you remember the Tubes? Am I dating myself again?
Oh yeah. Wow, that has been a while.
What do you want from life? A baby's arm holding an apple. A Winnebago. We're giving them away. The Tubes. They were a great New Year's Eve band. San Francisco. Incredible. Yeah, go see them.
Okay. We're definitely going to have Jeremy back on because I'm pretty sure that, like he said, there's a million stories out there from the different things that he's done. So please come back, talk to us some more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'll get on Discovery. I'll call you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you get any job.
Yeah. Any job you get, you let Dan know. We'll have you back on to talk about it. So yeah, but if you get on Discovery, that would be thumbs up for me. Anyways, I'm a fan, so thumbs up.
Yes, absolutely. Anything you get on.
All right, thanks a lot.
I hope to come across you one day at a Comic-Con. Where we can.
Me too.
You need to go.
They tell me there's one in Manchester next year that I think I'm going to. They say, but I don't really bank on anything until they tell me the flight tickets right here.
Yeah,
I'd love to do that one. It's been a pleasure.
it has. Well, thank you for being on here. And if anybody who's watching this, thank you for asking questions. And it's been Jeremy Roberts tonight, which has been great. I love it.
Yes, love it.
Oh.
I'm gonna go watch some Undiscovered Country now.
Yes.
And watch me some Discovered Country.
I'll probably watch the Murder She Wrote.
Yeah.
I could probably watch half of them and never have seen any of them, so it's all new to me. My wife is going to start getting tapes and CDs and cassette tapes and 8-tracks and way back, whatever they would get these. Just because your family should have them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I should see them maybe now that I can't, not so judgmental about it.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, been a pleasure. I'll see you guys again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon.
You're welcome. All right.
All right, he's still there. He's still watching. But anyways, wow, right? Everyone's on here. We have so many. I was hoping for a couple more questions from people, but like he said, he was giving a lot of information about the different roles that he's done. So I'm pretty sure he answered quite a few questions. Yeah, so everyone has been enjoying the show. I know you can see the comments. Everyone's been. Can you see the comments?
Oh yes, I've been following.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, everyone's there. I want to thank everyone for coming on. I want to thank everyone for watching. I know that I shared this with groups that I'm part of, at least the Star Trek groups. Yeah. And of course, I think I've noticed a pattern when I have guests or when we have guests on that are kind of in a different part of the country. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of lag or a little bit of breakup, but it wasn't bad. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I could still understand him, and he was still part of the show and that stuff. So, and of course, we met new people like Jerry Grimes. Thanks for coming on and watching. I don't know where you're watching from or where you saw it, wherever I posted. And yeah, we went, 9:24 already. So normally we don't do that because Dan is a stickler. 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
The show has ended, so this is way out of there. So everyone, I'm just going to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We'll see you all next Thursday. You never know who's going to be on. And then we also have...
The week after that, we're going to have John Jackson Miller, author. And we'll be sharing his credentials and stuff on the pages. I'll be sharing them. Brian will be sharing them. And you can see what books he's written. And I guarantee you, if you're in the Star Trek, if you follow Star Trek, if you're any of the books, novelization, he has been one tagged to write some of the current novelizations for Picard, for Discovery, for these. Plus, he was tagged by Disney to write Kenobi and one of the new Star Wars stuff. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the potential Kenobi movie they were going to do was going to be based on his book.
Yes.
So I can't wait to talk to him as an author, as a sci-fi geek. I can't wait to get a chance to talk to him. I hated that he couldn't be there last week, but that just means the anticipation gets to build, and then 2 weeks we can have him on here again.
Yes. So 2 weeks from now, yes, John Jackson Miller. But that's it. So everyone, stay safe. Have a great weekend. I know I won't because I'll be working, but that's okay. But we'll see everyone next week. All right.
Yes.
Have a fantastic night. Goodbye, everyone.